mentioned Eastern Europe. Are there certain countries within the region that you look at a lot?
Lithuania is on top of the list. Serbia is huge. And then there's a Wikipedia page that you can Google, and it's like countries of Europe by salary. And then you can draw a line where basically there are countries with lower salaries and higher salaries, and I typically go for the countries with the lower salaries because the talent, education, it's all comparable, and especially if they work for an international company and they've been around it. Um, for the same amount of money, you can get better talent. So I'm not even necessarily looking at it as a discount. I'm just looking what can I get for my money, and you can get some just outstanding people over there. So um, basically, Eastern and Southern Europe is my go to.
Okay. What would you say? What would you recommend? Sorry, for a brand owner that's got people from a whole host of different countries. What would you recommend for them to do to kind of build team culture across different kind of people?
So I mean, an obvious thing is that you want to be reasonable with time zones, and so you can go pretty broad, but typically it's at most two out of the three. So either Americas is where you build your team, uh, Europe, or then Asia and Australia. So typically you wouldn't just go anywhere in the world. So you'd pick two out of three. So maybe Europe and Americas is the most typical. Sometimes Europe and Asia. I've seen less of Asia and the and Americas. But you kind of want to be a bit reasonable when it comes to time zone. Make sure that there's some alignment. When it comes to those like cultural aspects, generally, kind of these my type of company that I work with is smaller in terms of team size, but definitely kind of overachieving in terms of scale that they've been able to achieve. And that, if you follow the math, it kind of means that the revenue or profit per employee is really high. And there, the kind of connecting factor is that hey, we're all doing a really good job. We're all bringing in our A game basically. So that's the thing that is the unifying factor. And then um, past that, yeah, I think there are probably some kind of interpersonal things that you can think about. But if you have that foundation of okay, we're all doing our very best and we're all really passionate about what we're doing, then I think yeah, it's a really good start.
Okay. And what would you say to a business owner that was maybe in two minds about team culture being entirely dependent on we're A-star employees, we're going to push things on output, push the envelope and achieve versus more of a kind of balanced workplace with more of a focus on kind of team building and stuff.
Either of those can be a reasonable choice. So for me, it's just a bit hard to be around people who are not like 100% bought in. That's how I work, and that's how most founders are, and that's what they expect from their team. In that case, just be sure that you have something good to offer in return, and that it's actually worth it.
Cool. Okay, so what would you say to a founder that's across different cultures? What can they do to kind of make the machine run smoothly?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one thing to watch out for that's kind of organizational and maybe obvious, but should be kept in mind is where the team is based. So you just don't want to spread it out too much. So typically, there are people don't go to more than two out of the three parts of the world. So Americas, Europe, or Asia and Australia, just because of time zones and you want to have some overlap between your teams. And yeah, so that's kind of an organizational but thing to watch out for. So when it comes to culture, what I've seen is that people that work with me again, they tend to have maybe smaller teams, but they're at pretty high scale. So if you kind of follow the math and the revenue or profit per employee is pretty high, and that generally means that they're all very high performing, great output, and that's the sort of uniting thing between them. And then there might be some maybe smaller cultural differences, but if you have the foundation of okay, we're all here, we're going to do a really great job. I think that's a really solid start to building a nice company culture.
Okay. And then before we kind of start to round things off, my question here was going to be about, assuming there's a senior role opened up, how do you think about kind of promoting internally versus going externally to fill that spot?
Yeah, so I would always try to see if I have someone internally that I could promote. That's like free onboarding basically, right? And you generally want to motivate your team and give them chances to kind of up their career and see that you can actually grow within the company. So that's basically the first thing that would cross your mind. There are cases where you can't do it. So uh, in one case, the company just might be growing too fast, and you don't have enough people that are able to do it, and kind of the very best people have already been promoted. Is essentially the situation. A different situation might be when you kind of just don't have the talent you need. You need to work on the kind of next level, and then typically you do plug someone from a company that's basically has gone through it already, and that's when it makes sense to go outside when you don't really have anyone. But at first, I would always look at the current team and see if someone could step in those shoes.